cue the show. Sound surrounding the screen will glow. Grab your popcorn, settle in. Movie magic's about to begin. Techthusiasm, the lights, cue the show. Sound surrounding the screen will glow. Grab your popcorn, settle in. Movie magic's about to begin. Techthusiasm, turn it up to
Techthusiasm. Welcome, everybody. Monday, December 15th, almost Christmas time. Techthusiasm Live podcast, ready to hang out for the hour here and just kind of muse on some of the stuff that's been going on. Spent a good amount of time in the last week looking at that TCL QM9K 98. Have some thoughts there. Other fun things, preparations and whatnot going on. Hope everybody's having a great December. It's cold and snowy December in Michigan. I don't know what it's like where you're at, but man, we've had more cold and more snow already than we've often get well into January. Haven't been on the skis yet, but I think we will. I think we'll be skiing here very soon and probably a bit more with the holiday break coming up. Looking forward to taking the better part of a week and a half off, and then got a little bit of time, and then we got a family vacation planned. So there's busy times and a lot of fun times are coming up. I hope that you're having a great time. We had a good weekend. Played some games with my son. We watched 2 movies, actually. I think we might have done 2 movies. One in the theater and one in the living room. Cleaned up some of the tech stuff. We've been working on our collection plan. My son and I we've got too many figures arriving, Hot Toys, 6 scale movie collectibles and stuff coming in. We've been shopping that, running around to some stores, visited some family and all that. So yeah, hope you had a great weekend and you're having a good time. Let me know who's out there. I see Julius already. First one always. Welcome. Hello. Let me know who's out there. What's going on? What are you doing in your entertainment systems? Are you buying some movies? Are you watching some movies? Are you buying any equipment? Are you shopping for others? Are you gifting home theater technology this holiday season? I used to like to give technology more than I do nowadays, just because I don't know, supporting tech can kind of to family and friends and whatnot can kind of get old after a little while. But I prefer to interact and sell to the real enthusiasts rather than trying to convert friends and family into being enthusiasts. But in any case, it's been a fun week. So the new Terra server did arrive, 48 terabyte. We filmed some footage on that, so we'll have like an install kind of log coming. I need to kind of film the final bits and pieces of it. So that video is coming, but we did get it installed, my son and I. I'm not sure what day that actually was. It might have been like Thursday night, towards the end of last week, I think it was. I think it might have been Thursday night. So I've been downloading movies. I think I need to check my download queue actually and see. I think I've loaded something like 300 movies, close to, onto that Terra server just in the last, however long it's been, last 5 days or so. But I just keep going through. I'm going through my movie collection in Kaleidoscape in alphabetical order, starting at the A's, and just clicking download, not on everything, but clicking download on the stuff that I really want to have resident and I really want to be able to call up and play, or play a scene or watch whatever anytime that I want. So skipping quite a bit as well. I probably will do a second pass, and I think there's going to be plenty of room. There's going to be plenty of room to do a second pass, actually, because I think I'm already on page 12. I think I'm on page 12 of 14 of my Kaleidoscape library. And there's like 120 movies per page. So I did queue up. I'm like into the T's right now, because Transformers, I think, was the last series that I queued up for download. So I need to get through the last couple pages. I'll probably do that actually right after the live stream, keep that thing downloaded overnight tonight and into tomorrow. And then mess around with starting to put movies into collections and that. And then I think I need to roll back. I skipped the Bonds, so I got to go back and I'll download all 20 some Bond movies. I skipped like the Pixar stuff as well. I'll probably download all the Pixar movies, just have the whole library, and then maybe some DreamWorks stuff as well. So there were a couple of like specific collections that I didn't want to miss anything onesie twosie. I figured I would go back and like do a search and get all of them after the fact. But so that's pretty cool. It'll be nice to fire that thing up and have just all of those movies resident and available and stuff at our fingertips. And so we'll see when next the opportunity presents itself. We'll go from 48 to 96, and then I'll just download my entire my entire library. I think will fit on one 96 terabyte server. I've been doing the This Week in Kaleidoscape videos, so check those out. I'll have one. I'll record it. I record them Tuesday night, put them out Wednesday morning has been the norm. But checking out the store, talking about stuff that looks cool, movies that I like, and things like that. So definitely check out that content for sure. Tomorrow will be like the setup hanging vlog for the QM9K. Basically the same footage that anybody that watches the live streams had a sneak peek of last week. I took all that footage and put a recorded overlay over top of it, descriptive overlay, or added the voice audio after the fact, kind of playing it all as B-roll. And so that video comes out tomorrow, the whole kind of hanging process. And then I want to start making some more content about the TV. I want to do like a wiring and kind of setup in conjunction with like the initial TV setup, menu system, and give some impressions and stuff like that. So we'll talk a little bit about that here today as a topic for today's stream. But there will be a specific dedicated video about it coming soon, and then move on likely to I don't know what I'll do in terms of an actual review, or just kind of continue just living with the TV for a while. Nothing's going to change for a while now. We've got a few weeks until CES. We'll see what the CES news is, and then it's going to be months probably before anything even announced at CES even starts to become available. It's going to be a while before I may be able to get a little more involved with LG and stuff as a dealer or collaborator, like I was commenting on a couple weeks ago. So so the QM9K is going to stick around for a while, which is why I was kind of pretty happy to do it at this time, because I'm going to get for sure a number of months of use out of it. So we'll talk a little bit about that as we go here, and then so like I said, we watched a couple of movies and had some great interactions as well. So I've helped recently, a lot of business going on. I've helped two folks. I have two screens. Two Seymour screens in process right now. One of them should have shipped out from Seymour today. The other one's in the production queue, should be shipping out soon. Very customized order for a really great customer that I've been working with for a while. So that's been fun, helping people kind of spec some stuff out. I got a projector in process as well, coming on its way in. And we move that right back out again to one of the same guys that bought the screen. And I've been working with another channel community member in the last few days as well for some of the for some audio upgrades, that there are some things that are moving out of my system to come, going into somebody else's system, as I'm getting closer and closer to kind of breaking some new ground on a very big home theater brand that's coming up here soon. And then also working with the same person on a potential likely like moving to a different kind of screen aspect ratio change, and possibly moving to like an acoustically transparent screen, putting a speaker behind the screen, a center channel behind the screen. So we've been talking about that in the last few days, and a little bit more as well. So it's fun. I love those conversations. I love kind of giving my feedback and my input and thoughts to people. So that's what it's all about. Like the whole reason that I wanted to kind of add to the reseller, integrator, kind of dealer element to the whole thing is working with folks, trying to help them make their systems better, trying to give like the honest, if it were me, I would do this, just plain and simple. This is what I would do. This is what I've learned from things that I've done and things that I've changed, and things that I didn't do as well the first time in my systems, or that I think are working well or working preferable now. So that's been a lot of fun. If I can help anybody with your stuff as we get here, if send your spouses and significant others to me, tell them what you want, and I'll hook them up for your Christmas gifts, whatever that may be, projectors, kaleidoscapes, etc. Or if you want to get in touch and kind of spec out a system, there's a couple of other folks that I've been working with as well. That it's just been really fun conversations. Like, I want to upgrade my system, and what can I do, and how does it go? So I've had a good time with all of that. So, so let's say hello to a few folks, and then we'll kind of get into some topics. Yes, Julia said cold here in St. Louis. Yeah, midweek. Yeah, we're getting warmer again here. Yesterday was our coldest day. We were actually going to go skiing yesterday, but we kind of vetoed that idea. My wife usually takes my son to this like homeschool hike activity, social activity on Mondays, and they didn't go today because it's so cold. But I think we're going back up into the 50s. I think midweek here. So we'll see. I don't mind the snow and stuff. I don't mind a little bit of cold, and I don't mind the snow because I do want to get out on the I do want to get out on the skis. So Judas asking, do you still feel the picture of the new TV is a little softer looking? I'll comment on that in a second. We'll jump into that topic in a minute. Sis Judge, welcome. Convinced me to get a Strato E. Pretty happy with it. It's definitely a niche device for use case. We're happy for it. Mainly because I'm a lot into indie and foreign titles not available. Yeah, yeah. US titles in the US store is the strong point for sure. Hey, well, remember next time you can come. You could have got that Strato from me, so feel free to reach out when you're ready to add a server, Mister Sis Judge. Let me help you out. Let me be the one. Terminator indirectly got you some business. Yeah, yeah. Joe is who I was talking about. So Joe's going to be picking up some audio gear as the Techthusiasm Theater rolls into its next iteration, and then we were actually talking about a screen aspect ratio change and some acoustically transparent stuff like that for him. So, yep, we're talking. I got I guess like a bunch of emails out now, like for different checking in on different things and pricing stuff. It's fun, loving it. Yeah, hit quite a bit of snow this year. Yeah, on the west side for sure. Yeah, you get more of it. Sister, yep, in the UK. I appreciate it. Well, awesome. Welcome to the club, nonetheless. I think you'll dig it. I'm not sure how the UK store compares to the US store in terms of its content library, but I hope you're able to get the bulk of what you're looking for in the platform. Again, I'm excited. Once I finish the downloading sequence, I probably got about the better part of this week. Maybe by the end of this week, I'll have my 48 loaded up with the bulk of the stuff that I think I'm going to keep resident on it, and then we'll see how much space is left. I think I'll probably hit like 500 or 600 movies, and then I'll still have room for like 200 or 300 more after that. So plenty of room to just be able to load up a bunch of stuff and keep it there. All right, so let's talk about this. Let's talk about this TCL. So I was able to get some good time on it. We didn't watch. I haven't watched a lot of like streaming TV per se. But we did. We have gamed on it a good bit. My son and I, we actually finished Hyrule Warriors, the definitive edition, the original version, the first iteration, whatever, of that game. I think originally a Wii or Wii U game. But we're playing, of course, the Switch upgrade on the Switch too. So we did a good bit of gaming, and I have to say, like, I don't fault any gaming performance on the set. I think gaming looked good. I think it played good. Frame rates, motion, and stuff like that was all good. Of course, we're not playing like a super native 4K game, and we're not playing like a native HDR game or anything like that. We'll get to some of that soon, as we jump into some other titles and stuff. I'm not sure how much more of Hyrule Warriors we'll play. We finished I think they call it Legend mode or whatever, basically story mode. And then there's a free play mode. There's a ton of stuff to unlock in that game. Holy cow, there's a lot of replayability. So I'm sure we could put another like 10 or 20 hours on it, I bet. Just like leveling up characters and unlocking. And then they have this other mode, like some adventure mode, which like gives you an overworld that looks like the original NES 8-bit Legend of Zelda map. You kind of go to the different locations, but then you enter them and you fight in the 3D kind of Hyrule Warriors levels and stuff. We did 2 or 3 of those after we beat the story mode last night. I think it was actually, yeah. And so I don't know if we'll continue to play those again or anymore, or if we're going to move to something else. I think we're going to move to Marvel Cosmic Invasion, the pixel style 2D side scroller beat 'em up that just came out, and we probably will go back to the PC. I actually really am liking aspects of the Switch too. Playing on a console again reaffirms in my mind the nice conveniences of console gaming versus PC gaming, not waiting for boot up time and just grab the controller, turn it on, like reliability and all that stuff. But yeah, it's still a Switch. So, and that PC is a 5090. So I think we're going to, whenever possible, we'll play Nintendo stuff on the Switch. We'll probably go to the PC for the other games. But my son and I, we're both Jonesins to get into Cosmic Invasion. So we'll probably be jumping to that soon. I digress though, but we'll get over into some like newer, higher resolution, full on games soon. But again, I found no fault with the 9K for the gaming that we have done. So whatever that has been now, several hours of or more of Hyrule Warriors. Looked great, played great, nice color, nice motion. not noticing any excessive like lag or negative controller interaction, anything like that. So that was all positive. I have played a good amount of just like passive YouTube in the background. So like sometimes at night, just sitting on the laptop, on the couch, and then playing YouTube videos on the TV. And again, I stand by what I was saying a little bit last week. Again, I'm used to seeing it at 83 in that room. You blow it up to 98, it's going to naturally just look a little bit softer. Video games didn't carry the same, just for whatever reason, video games didn't seem to carry the same feeling of like softness as like YouTube and the non HD material, whatever, or the non 4K material and stuff did, because not every YouTube channel is in 4K. Um, but we did some movies up there. So we did we did two things actually. Since the last turn, I think since the last live stream, actually, what did we watch? And we watched the Grinch. We watched the original Grinch cartoon special, and we streamed it on Apple TV. So that was like the remaster. I think that might have actually been in 4K. I'm not sure if that one's actually 4K or not, come to think of it. Um, and I thought it looked okay. I wasn't I wasn't dissuaded, and I wasn't like super enamored. But then the other night, I forget what night it was. We watched the Illumination. I think it's Illumination. It was made the Grinch CG remake movie. I really like that movie. I think they did a really good job on that. Some of the Rotten Tomatoes scores and stuff on that one are kind of mixed and whatnot, but I thought that movie was excellent and very 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 good. And a great like expansion of kind of the Grinch's lore, if you want to call it that. But we watched that upstairs. We usually don't come downstairs for kind of the holiday movies. Nicer to watch them in the living room by the Christmas tree with the fireplace on and stuff like that. It just feels cozy and feels like Christmas, feels like what a Christmas movie experience wants to be. And so that was on the Kaleidoscape. That's the big difference. So now that was the first movie that we had watched on the 9K um, on the Kaleidoscape, and I thought it looked fantastic. So, it's also computer animated, but it's 4K. I download HDR10 format for my Kaleidoscape. I do not download Dolby Vision format. So, bear that in mind for whatever it's worth to you for these impressions. But I don't waste storage space for Dolby Vision, and that's not because Dolby Vision is bigger than HDR10, but for the Kaleidoscape in particular, I don't think Dolby Vision adds any value relative to. I would rather be able to play my movie format natively in both rooms. And this theater room that I'm in right now, of course, doesn't support Dolby Vision. JVC projector NZ900 is not Dolby Vision capable. Technically, I could pump Dolby Vision in, and the Mad VR can do its processing and stuff. But when even my calibrator friends don't do that, I'm kind of inclined not to jump through the hoops of like whatever LLDV um, and processing and stuff there is. I would rather feed the display device with the already hopefully properly processed native format that it's expecting, rather than do some type of conversion and hope that either the external device or something along in the chain does the conversion properly, right? Versus, I just seems unnecessary versus trying to stick to native format. So I download HDR10 format for that reason, and then I just consume the same HDR10 format in the living room TV, which again, it's so bright and the quality and stuff is there nowadays. I don't think that there's a terrible difference between um, TV. If you blind tested me on a Kaleidoscape download of a movie of DV versus HDR10, I don't think you could. I don't think I'd pass. Just put it that way. So I would rather just match the native format, and then I can just comfortably and faithfully use native format in both rooms. And again, I'm not downloading HDR10 and Dolby Vision. That would be 2x the storage space for movies. That's a waste, in my opinion, in a platform uh, where storage space is at a premium cost. You don't waste it. You don't spend twice as much storage space. Um, you buy storage space and put as many many things on it as you can, not as many formats as you can, in my opinion. Other folks may do it differently as they see fit. So Grinch, we watched it in HDR10. There's a lot of content on Kaleidoscape anyway that still is only HDR10 and not DV. So even if you wouldn't be able to download everything in DV if you wanted to anyway. So it's like probably 60% or more of the stuff that I downloaded is not in DV, it's in HDR10, so I just make everything HDR10. But yeah, I thought it looked really good. It was very bright, it was punchy, it was very detailed. The texture, a lot of snow, a lot of white snow in that movie, and I think all of that looked really, really good. Not a ton of, like, black level challenge in that movie. There's a lot of color, though, and I thought it looked really good. I thought it popped. It actually popped. So, I don't know if, what I was feeling more flat was just based on watching, like, less than 4K non-HDR material, maybe just the YouTube stuff. I need to watch some other, like, non-HDR, uh, but higher quality streams and some cartoons and stuff like that with my son. We need to finish up, Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes. We got a couple episodes of that left, and then maybe some other, like, streaming TV show content. We're getting really big into Star Wars here. I'll talk about that in a minute. Um, Star Wars is picking up a lot of interest in the household, at least particularly with my son, which I'm really, really digging at the moment. So we might get into some of the Star Wars Disney Plus TV shows and that. So we'll see. We did watch one other thing. We finished, my wife and I, we had the last 35 minutes, the last half an hour of the last episode of Cobra Kai to finish, way back from our anniversary trip back in June. June-ish, or when we took it. I forgot when exactly. It might have been, was it May, ahead of our anniversary? But we watched a handful of episodes of the final season on the plane coming home, and then we were left with like a half an hour of the final one, and we'd never been able to just sit down and knock it out. And it just so happened that it worked out for us to do that. And so that did still feel a little flat to me. So I wonder if there's actually something. I don't know if anybody's seen any feedback on the QM9K or these TCLs. If you have it, does HDR10 actually look better than Dolby Vision on these sets? Is there something in the processing or whatnot? I did have Dolby Vision IQ turned on, and so maybe I did change it though. I have changed it since Dolby Vision Dark, but we haven't really watched any more Dolby Vision material. Um, so to the point where actually when we were watching Cobra Kai, I was wondering if HDR was actually on or not. It just didn't seem to have like that dynamic pop that you would expect, highlight pop and stuff. But man, the Kaleidoscape HDR10 in the Grinch movie, I was really happy with it. I thought it really popped really strong. White snow, textured snow, all the fur and the detail. The Grinch is green. Um, there's just so much in that movie, like the Christmas lights and elements, the Hootown village and everything. There's a lot of opportunity for highlights and color pop and bright elements and stuff. And I thought it did good. I was very happy with the performance. Whether I wouldn't say that I'm any more or less like a lifetime convert now to TCL. As I've said a bunch of times, I'm kind of experimenting with this and using this as an opportunity to check out the brand and test it out and stuff like that. I do expect no matter what, I'll buy a new TV in 2026, just because I want to stay current and for the content and for the experience and knowledge and the channel and all of that stuff. So, but yeah, so far so good with this thing, I would say. So I need to explore some more DV content, which is again mostly going to be streaming. And I do want to. I need to just sit down and probably just demo out a bunch of scenes. As it is, I've waited until we've actually sat down to watch something to be able to explore it or use it too much. So, but and then in the interim there as well, my Kaleidoscape system wasn't really operable in the living room. So, but now I've got the server, I've got a bunch of movies downloaded. I can really try some stuff out, including some of the darker scenes, the torture test scenes and stuff like that. So we'll see what it looks like. I'm going to try out that 1917 crawling up the stairs scene. I'll probably do the Mission Impossible Final Reckoning submarine rolling down scene. A lot of black in that scene particular, and then like highlights with the flashlights of Tom Cruise's helmet and stuff like that. And then try some other dynamic stuff like Ready Player One race scene, some faster moving 24 hertz material and whatnot. I did tweak some of the settings as well. So originally, I think I commented last week that I based some of my initial settings on what Dennison Calibrated's channel had said about TCL setting recommendations and stuff like that. And then thanks to Classy Tech, he sent me a text file with it's the wrong. I was going to try to pull it up actually to look at some of the The items that I wanted to quote. Let me see if I can get this quick here. Here it is. Okay. So a lot of his settings were actually very similar to Caleb's settings as well. Filmmaker mode. So filmmaker for SDR, filmmaker for HDR, of course, game mode for game mode. Most of the stuff turned off. Dynamic contrast, micro contrast, etc. Right. A lot of these things turned off. In HDR, one of the things though that I noticed, that I thought, and I wondered if this maybe was part of why I felt some of it wasn't popping as much, is there is a peak luminance option, and I think in the newer firmware, or maybe the firmware that my TV has now, they changed um, the name of the settings where now I forget. It's like boost. It's like low, high, off, low, high, and boost. And I think even in Cal's video, and then in the settings that Classy had sent me, they recommend like standard. Um, and I think is that standard. I think standard corresponds to high in the new firmware, not low. And so I think I for HDR10 and stuff, I did change the peak luminance to high, and I think that brought some punch back. So I was happy with that. And I am running a little bit of custom uh, motion. I just set to level 2, which is what Caleb had recommended. So, and then game modes are just game modes. And Dolby Vision, I did change also from Dolby Vision IQ to Dolby Vision Dark as well. So we'll see if that has any impact, I guess. And I did follow a couple of Classy's other minor recommendations, basically bringing contrast down a little bit in both SDR and HDR modes. I'm running my SDR brightness a little higher than actually he was recommending. Maybe that's the reason too why, if I felt there was a little less HDR punch, maybe I have the SDR brightness turned up a little too high. It's overcompensating, or there's not enough differential between what SDR brightness should be and what HDR brightness should be. So again, I'm still tweaking. One thing I do really like about this TV though, and I'll cover this when I make the videos, is something that I always like to talk about. It's like the menuing system, the operation of the television and stuff. So I'm really impressed with the speed of the TV, like power on, input change, HDMI sync, like boom, everything goes real quick. Picture, change input, pictures up. I like the pop-up menu strip that you can get at the bottom. I've customized mine now, took a lot of stuff off of it, left some of the most important settings. So you can very quickly get from like pop up the menu, get to the picture settings, boom, pull it up, make a tweak, and get back again. I like that the info shows you resolution, frame rate, and like HDR format. Basically, there's not an info button on the remote, but I found if you hit the back button when nothing else is no other menus are up, that's actually how you get the info fly out. It took me a little bit to realize that you have to long press the like pop-up menu hamburger button to get to the game mode menu, but that's fine once you get there. I like how the input. So one of the things that actually was a pain point about the LG, in my opinion, is like for whatever reason, LG is very finicky to the devices that are plugged into it, and I feel like with the LG, I wouldn't unplug anything or change anything, but then I would use the TV. I'd start it up, and it's like, oh, did you know your device supports CEC? Like, turn it on, and I'm going to put a pop up on your screen that like doesn't just go away after 5 seconds on its own. It's going to sit here. Uh, it's just going to sit here and not go away. So then I got to fish the TV remote out of the box and stuff. I appreciate so far that the TCL doesn't seem to do that. Like once I set up the inputs and I rename them, now they're nice and stable, and they're not like renaming. I feel like I had to every once in a while. I don't know if it's because of firmware updates or whatever. I'd have to go back in and I'd have to rename my inputs. I like to put my own names on the inputs for the devices that are plugged in. And so that was an annoyance of the LG that doesn't seem to be the case with the TCL. So I appreciate that. I like how TCL also gives you the ability to say like to show and hide show and hide more stuff so I can kind of strip the UI down for things that I don't want. But I can specify like always show me all 4 HDMI inputs so that I can see. Whereas I think on like the LG by default, and I don't know if there was a setting for this. I don't think there was. If there was, I hadn't found it. Where you would only see the inputs in the select strip if the TV recognized that something was like plugged in and active. So I like the deterministic nature of like pull up the input menu and then all 4 of my HDMIs are always there. Even if like the PC is turned off and one input is blacked out and nothing is technically on it, I still know that that in HDMI 3 or whatever is my PC input. So just little quality of life stuff like that. I like as well how with the LG, one thing I didn't like is you could never just solely output sound to the optical output. It was like TV. You could do TV speakers plus optical, and on the TCL you can specify like optical only, and so that's fine as well. I haven't had any trouble with the audio across all the sources and stuff that we've tried, across all the content that we've tried. I'm glad. I'm glad to have the Strato E Kaleidoscape and be able to set up for the 2-channel PCM output. So let the Kaleidoscape do its decoding of whatever the audio format is and just always output 2-channel PCM, decode the lossless signal, right, and be able to get a lossless 2-channel PCM all the way through to the speakers. But that part's all working great. Again, using the USB hub on the 3 powered RUI Pro cables is working great. I have not, knock on wood, I have not had any kind of any HDMI issues. I haven't had any false starts. I haven't had any power on problems and stuff like that. And do not hear any buzzing. So I know that was a big question that had come out in this last week, in particular in the comments and stuff, because of Andrew Robinson's video where he was kind of lukewarm about the QM9K, and the buzzing stuff was a big problem. So I haven't gone and looked at the production tag or anything on the TV to see like, oh, where it was made, or does it have a production date? Is it a newer production date, perhaps? But I don't notice any kind of buzzing. And if the buzzing that some folks were finding was related to brightness settings, being at 100 brightness. I mean, we watched an entire movie in HDR10, which maxes out to 100 brightness, and I didn't hear it, and nobody else heard it. I'm usually the one that's more sensitive to that kind of problem in a system, like audible noise floor type of issues. I know our upstairs at Christmas time. I like the holiday time and I like all the lights and stuff, but I need to get some electrical work redone because we have like some type of like a contact relay or something that's wired in between our light switch and the actual outlets for to light the holiday lights outside. And then anytime a contact relay, and anytime that switch is on and that contact relay is engaged, it buzzes audibly around that upstairs area of the house. And I can, if it's quiet and I'm sitting on the couch, I can hear it. It drives me nuts. So I can hear that, like I can hear that kind of noise really well. Actually, too, even last Christmas, we had these plug-in timers for certain Christmas lights and the Christmas tree and stuff like that around the house. They were kind of like they had like a dial setting on them, and you kind of punched in. There was like the 24 hours, and you punch in like what hours you want it to be on and what hours you want it to be off. You plug your lights into that. You plug that into the wall, and then I think this thing like rotates. There's a mechanical element to it as it's clicking time by, and the thing is rotating, and like I could hear that just like. And some of them were worse than others, and it's like, oh my god, can you guys hear that? It's so annoying. Nobody else could hear it. But so anyway, but I like the motion AI. It's my wife that doesn't like motion AI, and she hits the visual anomalies more, so her eyes do. My ears, for good or bad, they pick up on stuff like that. And so if the TV was buzzing, I feel like I would be sensitive to likely hear it based on my ability to pick up the other stuff like that. And I have not noticed anything awry or that has been an annoyance to me about it. So all is good. And so at the end of the day, do I feel like it's still a side grade, an upgrade, or a downgrade in terms of picture quality? I would say it's not an upgrade, but I don't think it, at least right now, I don't feel it's really a downgrade either. Maybe in some content, relative it is, but in like critical content, which what is what really matters. Like if I don't know if YouTube looks a little more drab or whatever, like YouTube is YouTube. It's not a movie in high fidelity and high bit rate and stuff like that on the Kaleidoscape. And if that looks great, that's my benchmark for like what I want to kind of look the best. So we'll do some more up there, I'm sure. Um, as we go forward, and again, get some more higher frame rate gaming and stuff like that. I did. I was debating as well. Like, do I turn on the 144 hertz game mode and try some of that out? But for now, I don't have that enabled. Um, I don't imagine even running the Switch 2 higher than 60 FPS. Like, you have to trade off resolution for frame rate, and that's not a trade-off that I would prefer to make if I don't wanna play at 1080p, 120. I'd rather play at 4K 60 on the Switch 2. Um, but on the PC, putting the TV into 144 hertz mode seemed to turn off HDIG, and I'm not sure that that's a great trade-off, either. So, for now, we'll see. Cosmic Invasion probably could run at 144, but even then, does 120 versus 144 really matter for a 2D side scroller beat 'em up? Probably not. Um, Better to just likely keep the HGIG turned on. So let's grab a couple of comments and kind of keep chatting here. Again, if you have any questions about the TCL, now's the time. Drop 'em in chat. We'll answer a couple of these right now. Yeah. So Big Bro 8439. Curious about non-UHD quality. So again, we watched the old Grinch and we watched the uh, and I watched a lot of YouTube. So again, and the last thing too, though, I mean, there's no there's no substitute for size. 83 to 98. I won't go smaller than that in that room again. It is so good, and my wife hasn't said anything negative about it in terms of the size. It fits really nice in the cubby. I don't think it really. I don't think the bigger size didn't matter from the wife acceptance factor perspective because it was all within the footprint of the cubby, and I think it looks better actually filling more of the cubby with TV than it does to fill less of the cubby with TV and have like a bunch of dead space in the cubby around it. So. Um, but playing the games, playing Hyrule Warriors, which is a co-op, same screen, split screen, top and bottom, so much more comfortable. Mario Kart with everybody in their quadrant, so much more comfortable. And then when we were playing some single player, because the adventure mode, we were we were just passing a controller back and forth. That's a single player mode only. Just so big and immersive and great. And I really appreciated as well the when we watched um, when we watch Grinch again, watching a movie up there feels cinematic now in a better way than it did before. Terminator, Hyrule Warriors is fun. Age of Calamity is much better. Yeah, you need to play. Yeah, we'll see. I think we'll end up crashing through Hyrule Warriors before we get into the full Zelda. So we may play them a little bit out of order. We kind of, I don't know, the story felt a little convoluted to begin with anyway, or at least kind of basic. So like all these Zelda eras are merging together. It's Ganon again. So it's more about the gameplay. Metroid Prime 4 is some of the best HDR I've seen in a game, no lie. Cool. I haven't played a Metroid game in a long time. Julius, how much RAM do you have in your gaming PC? It is DDR5. Yeah, DDR5, whatever the latest is. And I think we have 64 gig in there. I think I just went all the way to 64. Probably not necessary. 32 is probably enough, but we overbuilt the machine, right? So 4 terabyte SSD, 64 gig of RAM, and all that stuff. J Just Games 1725. Welcome. Love to see the new name. So welcome to everybody that might be tuning in for the first time. Side note: do you still have the Anthem? Just got mine. Oh, it killed your base. Well, so I do not have the AVM 70 anymore. I upgraded to the 90 a while back, and I have another upgrade pending on the audio side for the theater. So if you just got your AVM 70 and you're thinking that you're not getting enough bass out of it, that probably means that you ran Arc Genesis and you need to tweak the curve. So I have some content about that, I think, from some older videos, but I would not likely use Arc Genesis is bass behavior out of the box without a little bit of intervention. And and boosting. So add some add some room gain to the curve, and add some deep bass boost to get those lowers up, and get yourself some bass energy restored by tweaking your Genesis curve, and then see what you think. I can say that there is plenty of bass presentation out of the subwoofers and stuff in this room through the AVM. Uh, it's all a matter of configuration. Chintaput, welcome, my friend. Hello, hello. Second Rick. Hey, Rick, how's it going? Yeah, Versor OLED should be an upgrade for high ambient light situations only. Yeah, I wait until golf season. PGAs usually golf shot very well, especially if you use your antenna for off air. I have been using the Tableau. Oh, yeah, we'll talk about that. That's a frustration. See if I can get another strike or something against me here. But yeah, high ambient light. I'm trying to think most of the time, especially now that it gets dark at like 5 o'clock. So a lot of our usage has been later in the evening. I think we played some Hyrule Warriors. Was it Saturday? Might have been earlier in the day, Saturday. Yeah, like Saturday-ish afternoon before my son went to his coding class. So a lot of our usage ends up being at night. Debenez, I might get a Sony True RGB 75. Nice, if released this year. I am waiting. CES is going to be interesting. So we're only a couple weeks away, whatever, 3 weeks away. I'm really kind of curious to see what the TV technology front says. And Terminator Hyrule Warriors is just a made up story to justify the game. Oh, but the other two, okay, the other two are directly tied to the games. That's cool. Terminator saying, oh, getting back to the concept or topic from the beginning scene, Joe saw the glory of a taller screen. Yep, making the switch from scope to 16:9. Yeah, I feel like it's happening more and more in the hobby. Yeah, and I've been contemplating similar myself. I think the ultimate lesson of screen choice and aspect ratio management is that aspect ratio um, matters less than making sure that you maximize your overall real estate. So the problem is if you have height to spare and you go scope, you're probably going to regret it. If you have width to spare and you go 16:9, you're probably going to regret it. So it's about, we really want to maximize the available surface area to whatever the limiting dimension is, and then pick based on that. So some folks made choices based on just maybe a general concept in this hobby or something that they saw, like, oh, that scope is better. Scope is always better because it's cinematic or whatever. Well, not really. Like scope is no better. Scope is no better inherently than 16:9, as long as you are not constrained in the wrong dimension. So if you have 100 or 120 inches of width and you have the height, go 16:9. If you have 120 inches of width and you don't have the height, go scope. Um, and so I think folks that are feeling inclined to change aspect ratios may have made decisions without fully kind of contemplating the full concept of surface area. And that's exactly what I did. I initially my first screen choice in this room would have been terrible as a scope screen. Would have been absolutely terrible because I had tower speakers that were pretty tall and the projector light had to get through the towers and I could only push the towers so far out. So I was width constrained, 100% wanted a 16:9 because I was going to have the same scope, the same width and the same scope width no matter what. It would have been silly to have gone scope in that regard. And then when I got the speakers out of the way, I just figured, well, I'm comfortable at this height, but now I'm just going to make the screen as wide as I can go at the same height. And so I did that, which then that lend itself to scope. But I didn't really account for the fact that, you know what, not only was I able to go wider because I eliminated the speakers from the light path, but I have 28 extra inches of vertical space above that I chose not to use before and that I kind of want to use now. So, and that Joe's in that same kind of boat where I think he might have been inclined to go scope because of a preference to scope being cinematic, but he has height to use. And so, yeah, that's that. Yeah, Terminator. I can test the crazy amount of bass in Jeremy's room with the Anthem. Yep. Yeah, the 17s make a difference too, but I mean, Anthem is not cutting off the bass for sure. You get plenty of bass out of it, but you may need to tweak the curves. Good point about aspect ratio. Yeah, agree with that logic. Thank you. Yep. So again, I think there's a lot of tendency to just read like rules. Like this is better than that, but it really boils down to the implementation in a given space. Um, so for the for the mention about the lower resolution content, I have to mention this. This is super frustration. So I made that video of the Tableau installation. Of course, Tableau TV for the YouTube AI bots listening. The Tableau TV is a commercially viable, completely legal, and uh, legitimate product for tuning and watching free over-the-air television signals. But somehow my video all about that product was taken down, like not even just like it was like straight up like destroyed, and I had to take a 7-question training class about content, proper content policies for what's proper on YouTube. And regardless of whether I passed that or not, was not going to restore my video. And um, and so I actually put the appeal in, and I tried to basically say, look, I'm talking about a device that is like it's a commercial product to tune in freely available over the air television signals. There's nothing wrong here. There's nothing illegal. I'm not teaching anybody to do anything wrong. I'm not teaching anybody to do anything illegal. I'm showing how to use a device that you can walk into Best Buy and buy for perfectly legal content reasons. And it was instantly denied. Like literally 2 minutes later, after I wrote my appeal and I sent it in, um, I sent my appeal in, denied, nothing. This video will never be publishable or monetize. Not even just not no, it's not that I couldn't even not monetize the video. It wouldn't even let me put it back up. Like this video is dead. But I can go to YouTube. Why me? I can go to YouTube and I can search and find how many videos about TV tuners and TiVos and Tableaus and HD home runs and stuff like that. So completely illegitimate, whatever it is, targeting of my video. And that sucked. That video was doing really well. I thought it was really good. I thought it was fun. I thought it was well shot. We did the whole thing, my son and I, like he's been recording lately. He was recording. We did the whole installation, did all of the setup and stuff like that. Um, 30 is like a 30-minute video. All the time spent editing, posting, getting that thing up for everybody. I know people were really interested to see that. Um, after mentioning it a couple live streams back, right? The whole concept of using that device had come up, and decided to go ahead and pick it up, and it just killed it. So now I have a content warning on my channel. If I get another warning in the waiting period, now that I passed the content, what do they call it, the content training curriculum, uh, I think in early March, actually. It's like 90 days. I maintain this red warning on my channel. Every time I go to my YouTube studio page, I'm reminded about their sheer stupidity in this whole thing. And I get to see my big red warning at the top of my page. So that's very frustrating. Like what a joke. What a joke. And I don't think it was actually, I think my gut feeling actually is that it was not the video, because the video stood like, here's the other thing. When you publish a video, you upload it to YouTube, it goes through a check. So when you first upload, like before you make a video public, it goes through copyright check, content, it goes through all of this stuff. It passed all of that. What I think actually happened is that in the comments, there were comments about questions and comments about, does this device work with encrypted over the air channels? And so there, I had replied to those, and so I think that's what did it. I think after those comments were on the video, so I don't think YouTube took exception to the video. I think they took exception to the comments. So as it is, though, I don't think I will have any additional content about the Tableau. It's not worth the possibility of there being a problem, and I already invested several hours of my time to make a really great half-hour video going all over the whole concept of the thing and how to use it and setting it up and the hardware setup and the menu setup and the operation on the Apple TV. Like, I had it all in there. It's 30-minute video edited and just gone. All of that effort wasted. So I'd really like to try to appeal again, but there's no way to do it. So part of me almost, if I really wanted to try, if I really wanted to push the system, I would like re-upload the video again and um, just delete any comments that talked about uh, channel encryption if they come up again, because I didn't mention anything about that. Like, the device doesn't have a subscription fee. It's free to use once you pay for it. Like, there's absolutely no reason that the algorithm should have punished that way. So I don't know if there probably was never a real person that looked at it. It was probably like just DR or AI bots or whatever their content bots and stuff are. Probably a real person never even read my appeal note. So very frustrating. Yeah. Anyway, that kind of really killed. I was feeling really good about things too. Like, we've had so much good content flowing and recording things. I was feeling really excited, and that really deflated me for a couple of days. So anyway, we'll go forward from there. Rick, on the bleeding edge, high-end folks were, I'm sorry, on the bleeding edge, high-end folks where folks are considering DV LED displays versus projection, people are hand-wringing, yeah, the aspect ratio decisions. They can no longer place speakers behind the image. Yeah, that's actually a big part of what I was talking about with Joe, with the customer here, is like, he's a concept of actually moving his center channel behind his screen. Man, for projection setup, I love the speakers behind the screen. And that's why too, in the living room, like, I don't necessarily want a center channel, because 2 channels, perfect. It's so good in the living room. 2 channels with big, like, tower, quote unquote, and I have the Utopias in walls, but that's the equivalent of a monster tower speaker, right? Oh, it's just so good. It's so clean. It's so alive. The sound is so big and alive and engaging. And just to add one more speaker would change the whole setup away from like 2-channel focused equipment and in the simplicity, the lovely simplicity of 2-channel setup. And then where would I put the center channel? It would be down below the television. And now, as it is, man, the Phantom Center, that sound, it's locked dead center to the middle of the TV and stuff. But as long as we have projectors, I really like the speakers behind the screen. Yeah, Terminator. Yeah, there are scope screen gatekeepers in this hobby. Yep. Yeah, that's fine. There's gatekeepers. I mean, people have their opinions. People are diehard opinions on whatever. I'm a little more pragmatic, so I guess, and I've done them both. And there's, again, you know, as I said, there's nothing empirically right or wrong with either aspect ratio. It has entirely to do with what makes the best of the setup. Yeah, Julia, saw the video, wanted to see a follow-up. Yeah, no, there won't be a follow-up, unfortunately. Even if I put it up, and it's, again, it's not even a matter of monetization. Like, they would just, I don't know, I'd be too afraid that they would strike me again. Or if I get another warning, that turns into a strike. Yeah, I think Youthman actually just posted recently that he got one of these for something that was playing in the background of one of his videos. And like, YouTube is ruthless. There's just like, I think they just don't care because the platform is so big. What is one individual content creator, even if they have a decent sized channel, what do they matter in the grand scheme of things, unless they're like Mr. Beast or something? But you only get 3 strikes, and you hit 3 strikes, your channel is just gone. Everything that you worked for, right, to build that thing up is gone. So you hope you would be able to launch another one and get right back to the same spot, but it doesn't always work out that way. I've seen a lot of creators like launch secondary channels or try to get stuff off the ground, and it's like, it's amazing sometimes how slow the growth is. It doesn't just directly translate. Montreal Audio Video, welcome. So many new names. Awesome. So it's cool to see a lot of regular friends and some new folks joining as well. How are the blacks on the TCL? So that's the thing that I need to test. That's probably the one thing that I can't comment on as much today is the black level stuff. But now that I've got the Kaleidoscape and um, I've got the content loaded up, I'll put that through and I'll be able to comment a little bit more on that next week. So I'll do the 1917 scene and I'll do the Mission Impossible submarine scene. Those two alone should tell a good story of like black levels and HDR performance with deep, mostly black fields with bright lights and stuff shining. Are they clean? Are there halos? Is there any cloudiness and stuff like that? Is black black? Um, yeah, we'll see. I'm pretty sure. Trying to think the content that we watched. I'm pretty sure the Grinch movie, it was a scope movie actually, and so the black bars above and below were solid. They didn't bother me at all. Solid black there, so that was good at least. I was happy with that. And then yeah, the last kind of fun thing that's been going on is like I said, the Star Wars engagement has been cool. So the last weekend, of course, my son and I, while the ladies were gone, the ladies of the household were gone, we watched A New Hope, Empire, and Return of the Jedi in here. And then last night, actually, we watched Phantom Menace, which is kind of unfortunate. That movie has its troubles. Um, it has some Phantom Menace, man. It's George Lucas needed to be told no more, and I think he could have had better results from a lot of his stuff. He needed people to step up to him and say, "No, George, that's a bad idea. We don't want like Jar Jar sticking his stupid tongue out and burping and whatever else for 2.5 hours." And you should have stuck to the Ewoks. Or I'm sorry, you should have stuck to the Wookiees in Return of the Jedi and not tried to make them cute for the Ewoks. We appreciate that you want to make toys out of everything and sell the toys, but come on, grow it up a little bit. Um, so anyway, Darth Maul. There's some definite highlights to the Phantom Menace. The it was interesting talking to my kids about it because like the Phantom Menace falls in that tranche of time as well. 1999, where like special effects were really getting computerized and like almost good. They were like almost good, but they really weren't good, and they fail so hard in this like in the uncanny valley of today's standards that it's like wow. My daughter actually commented, she's like, "I think the other movies actually looked better." It's like, "Wow, they're practical." So practical movies from whatever the 80s, uh, ish. Well, Empire was 81, I think Jedi was 83, right? So practical movies from the 80s look better than some special effects from the 90s because the technology just wasn't there. So anyway, um, it was fun to get through that, and I'm excited to watch the other two again. I feel like I've seen Phantom Menace the most, and I haven't watched Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith quite as much. And all of the other movies, the other five, Rogue One, Solo, and the sequel trilogies, I've only ever watched them once. I think we saw all of them at the theater, actually. Solo, we might have watched at home. We saw all the other ones at the theater. And I've never seen the full ending of Rogue One, actually. My wife got sick. We were with some friends. She was um, self-induced, but she got sick at the end of the movie after we were out for some dinner and some drinks, and we walked out with like 20 minutes to go in Rogue One. I'm like, well, I know how it ends, but and I did watch the Vader hallway scene, um, just that part, somewhere along the way. But I'm excited to get through the rest of these movies. My son and I are Star Wars and out big time. So we got our Hot Toys collection started. I will talk some more about kind of collecting movie memorabilia collecting coming up, maybe next week or one of these weeks coming soon. I'm actually trying to get set up as well to be able to offer some movie memorabilia directly, um, as well. I have a application in with the wholesaler to be able to do like figures and posters and statues and stuff like that, and be able to offer that directly. I hope I make the criteria and I get accepted. I think that'll be pretty cool to mention. I did put the poll up last week about, do you collect stuff? Does the channel community collect stuff? And about a third does. So I think about a third said they were not collectors at all. About a third only collected the movies, either digitally or physically, and then about a third were into more collectibles for the movies, whether that's again either minor or significantly. I think is how I phrased it. Posters, figures, statues, whatever. And I've talked to a variety of folks. Actually, a number of people sent me emails. They're like, "Oh yeah, like I love movie memorabilia. I love this," and they were sending me photos of their displays and the stuff they have and things like that. So pretty cool. I will but that's another dimension that I'm looking forward to kind of exploring. And my son and I, again, we've been kind of nerding out on our plan, our collection plan and our display plan for the office and whatnot. So we've been buying some hot toys. We'd had a bunch of MCU and Star Wars Hot Toys figures coming in from different places, watching eBay auctions and stuff like that. So we've been having a lot of fun with that. And so I want to crash through these movies because it's like we've got room in our display and we need to decide like what characters from the Phantom Menace, or I'm sorry, from the prequel trilogy, what characters from the sequel trilogy, what characters from some of the TV show content and other iterations of Star Wars do we want to recognize in our collection and in our display. And he hasn't seen any of that content yet. So, and I'm behind in my Star Wars television content as well. So I'm very, very excited to add this dimension. He's digging it. So he's already shopping like Star Wars Lego sets. He wants to get, there's a new Death Star set. I think it has the record actually. Biggest Lego set, Star Wars Death Star. It's basically like cut the Death Star in half, and it's this massive playset scene, all these different elements from A New Hope and Return of the Jedi. They kind of merge both Death Stars into one, but pretty cool. So I need to get selling. I got a lot of activity I need to do. I need to get selling some books and some other collectibles, realign some display space, and then we'll keep piling up the figures for the coming thing. And stay tuned again. So again, more on that. And I'm hoping this week to hear back from to see if I can get like a wholesale access to the movie memorabilia collectible company that I'm hoping to end up working with here. So pretty fun. Always stuff going on in the background and more to do. I feel like Friday into the weekend, man, I was firing off like Techthusiasm correspondences like crazy, trying to get set up for things and structure some things and get quotes for things and whatnot. And I still have probably some of the biggest pending brand alignment upgrade news to come here soon. So, and that's it. 6 o'clock. The family's waiting. I think we are actually going to be able to do Attack of the Clones tonight. I'm hoping to do Attack of the Clones tonight. I proposed that we do movie picks and we kind of cycle them through the family. We kind of gotten away from that as we focused on getting through certain series and whatever. And I'm like, could we just put a what's the word? Can we put a delay on the picks, and can we just marathon Star Wars? Let's just marathon all the Star Wars and get through the Star Wars. So my wife had a lukewarm response to that. But my son's all in, I'm all in, and I hope I didn't lose my daughter with the Phantom Menace. So, yeah, that movie, Jar Jar Binks. Come on, people needed to tell George Lucas no a little bit, but it only goes up from there. And I'm really curious to watch actually the sequel trilogy content. I'm Solo and Rogue One were good. We're kind of just flat out pretty good. Rogue One especially, but man, that sequel trilogy. I don't know. I think Star Wars is weird. I think I'm gonna hate the sequel trilogy even more when I watch it again than watching it the first time and remembering, just because of my more like political frame of mind and stuff for kind of what was going on in society and movies and content during the time period when those movies were coming out and what they did to just destroy the classic image and future of these favorite characters and stuff. I was listening to something the other day and or a YouTube video last night actually, and the guy made a comment about Star Wars is the franchise that like that the lovers of Star Wars like love to hate Star Wars. And it's like, you know what? Like that's almost kind of true in a way, because it's like this is a franchise that has like so much good behind it, but man, there's a lot to dislike in Star Wars as well. Um, from like what could have been done, what it could have been at its, if everything would have been done to its peak and potential versus like some of the decisions that have been made with it along the way. But yeah, Rick, everyone hates Phantom Menace. This review is gold. Thanks, Julius. Thanks as well. All right, I'm gonna go get some dinner and then hopefully get into Attack of the Clones tonight. These are theater worthy movies. We're not watching Star Wars upstairs, despite the system. So and their scope, and we have the scope screen, so it matches up. not giving up any blank space. All right. So I hope everybody has a great week. We will stream next week. Next week, oh no, wait, we got 2 weeks till Christmas. No, shoot. Next week is Christmas week. We will still stream on Monday. Um, and conceivably, actually, I don't think the holidays will break up the streaming schedule. So the next couple of Mondays, they don't fall on any specific holidays, and I don't think they fall against any of our plans to be gone, um, at least until into midish January. So I hope everybody has a great one. We'll talk one more time before Christmas Day actually hits. Get your shopping in, and again, if I can help anybody, please let me help you. Reach out, email Jeremy at techthusiasm.net, hit up the webpage, techthusiasm.com. There are affiliate links in the descriptions of all my videos: Amazon, Target, Walmart, eBay, Monoprice, Dick's. Geez, I'm gonna forget the other ones, like Home Depot. Like I've got a whole bunch of them. Audio Advice, Crutchfield, and stuff. And of course, if you're looking for equipment, audio, video equipment, home theater gear, speakers, projectors, kaleidoscapes, subwoofers, racks, power management stuff, screens. Doing a lot of screens lately, a lot of screen conversations lately. Um, yeah, and there's promos going on right now. Anthem's got their big sale on. I can't sell Anthem, but if you want Anthem, go to AudioVice, go to Crutchfield, go through my links. 15% off Anthem stuff for the Q4 sale. JVC projectors, of course, the NZ700 and the 800 are both marked down by $1,000 and $2,000 respectively. Get in touch. I'm happy to help you out and get you all hooked up for this holiday season. It's not too late. Phone lines are open. Email line is open. Get in touch with email. I'll get you my phone number. We'll get on the phone. We'll have a call and talk it all through. Thanks everybody for watching, coming out, hanging out. It was a fun time as well. I'm using on all this stuff. I'm loving it right now, man. Like there's a lot of enjoyment going on in the whole tech hobby here going on in the household, and a couple of these other new opportunities and engagements and stuff that are coming up. I hope everything that I'm trying to do connects the way I want to, and we're going to set up for a really sweet 2026. So, thanks for watching. Come on back for more home theater discussion and fun. Have a good one.